I want to get you out the door with every result from every league in under 15 minutes, so that you're more informed about what's going on in the world of sports.
Hey TJ, what's going on? I'm Chandler and this is Tiger Beat Sports.
Hey everybody, I'm Chandler Sports and this is the Sport Report.
And I'm Chandler and this is Tiger Beat Sports. Welcome to a special edition of this all crazy sports newscast.
Broadcasting from somewhere in the United States.
Hit it, Blaze.
This is the Sport Report.
Hey everybody, I'm Chandler with Sports, and this is the Sport Report. Some days there will not be big stories to report on. Today is one of those days. Luke Walton did get hired as the Sacramento Kings coach a day after being fired as the LA Lakers coach, but we didn't find that as a newsworthy story. We kind of predicted Walton would find another place in the league. Speaking of the NBA, let's get to the rest of the NBA.
Bird takes the shot. It's gone! Oh my goodness! I can't believe it!
Jordan with 2 seconds to go, puts it up and scores at the buzzer! Michael Jordan has won it for Chicago!
Around the NBA.
We start across the border where, ironically, we're going to end this show. The Orlando Magic defeated the Toronto Raptors. Yeah, that's correct. 104-101, the 7 seed over a 2 seed. You just don't expect these things. DJ Augustine hit a game-winning 3 with 3.4 seconds remaining, and the Orlando Magic, here's a stat for you, have won more playoff games than the LA Lakers since the Dwight Howard trade 7 years ago. Golden State 121, LA Clippers 104. Kevin Durant and Patrick Beverley were ejected during the fourth quarter, but it didn't matter as Golden State won by 17. Steph Curry broke Ray Allen's three-point record. He now has at least 386 three-pointers, breaking the record of 385. Curry finished the night with 38 points, 15 rebounds, and 7 assists for Golden State. The San Antonio Spurs defeated the Denver Nuggets 101-96 at altitude at the Pepsi Center. The Nuggets had a chance to win the game with 2 shots, but it turned out to be great defense that stopped the Nuggets from winning. DeMar DeRozan had 18 points and 12 rebounds with 6 assists for San Antonio. Nikola Jokic had a triple-double of 10 points, 14 rebounds, and 14 assists for the Nuggets in his playoff debut. Lastly, in the NBA, the Brooklyn Nets 111-102 over the Philadelphia 76ers. D'Angelo Russell 26 points for Brooklyn. Jimmy Butler had 36 points for Philadelphia. His NBA playoff slate includes Pacers at the Celtics, Thunders at the Blazers, Pistons at the Bucks, and Jazz at the Rockets. All 8 first-round playoff series in the NBA will be underway after today's games. Most of you are expecting the NHL to be after the NBA. Well, we're going to switch things up for a good reason. Let's move to the diamond.
High fly ball into right field. She is gone!
And Carlton Fisk had a lot of little boy in him right there.
Little roller up along first. Behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight and the Mets win it.
Touch 'em all, Joe. Home run! Mike Piazza!
Jeter backhands from the outfield grass. Got it! Man, what a play!
Now from Major League Baseball.
There were 15 games on the MLB slate, but it turned into 14 after the Athletics at the Rangers was postponed. Rockies fell to the San Francisco Giants 5-2 in an afternoon game, less than 16 hours after they played an 18-inning marathon. LA Angels 6-5 over the Chicago Cubs, New York Yankees 4-0 against the Chicago White Sox, Minnesota Twins 4-3 against the Detroit Tigers, Toronto Blue Jays 3-1 against the Tampa Bay Rays, Washington Nationals 3-2 over the Pittsburgh Pirates, Miami Marlins 10, Philadelphia Phillies 3, Cincinnati Reds 5, St. Louis Cardinals 2, Kansas City Royals 3, Cleveland Indians nothing, Atlanta Braves 11, New York Mets 7, Boston Red Sox 5, Baltimore Orioles 9. Did we throw you off there a little bit? Chris Davis did snap his 0-for-54 streak by going 3-for-4 with 4 ribbies against Boston. San Diego Padres 5, Arizona Diamondbacks 4, Houston Astros 3, Seattle Mariners 1, Milwaukee Brewers 4, LA Dodgers 1. That's your 14-game slate from the MLB. Tomorrow there are also 15 games on the MLB slate. We go from the green grass of the baseball field to the green grass of Augusta National.
Oh my goodness. Oh, wow! In your life! life have you seen anything like that.
If you are listening to this by now, the Masters final round has already begun. That's because for the first time in Masters history, the final round will have 2 sets of tees being used, and groups will go off in groups of 3. The final groups will go off at 9:20 a.m. Eastern, with hopes of finishing before thunderstorms roll in the late afternoon. Tiger Woods is 2 shots behind Francesco Molinari, who is also leading at the British Open, or the Open Championship as it is more affectionately known as. Tiger did lead on the back 9, and Francesco Molinari ended up winning the Open Championship last July. Will Tiger rewrite history and win his 15th major, or will Francesco Molinari win his 2nd major? Or will somebody from outside of those two come back and win the Masters and take home a green jacket? Tony Finau, who twisted his ankle last season and popped it back into place, this time around, he's tied for 2nd with Tiger Woods, his childhood idol. He'll be playing in the final group with him and Molinari. There are a lot of players within striking distance, but those 3 are going to be the ones who everybody pays attention to today. Now we go from Augusta National to the NHL.
Back in front door, shot, scores! Bobby O from Sanderson! Metto!
Rebound chance in front. Kagan is there. Puck up free. Score!
Score!
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
Around the NHL.
We start in Boston, where the Bruins lost Game 1, but they won Game 2, 4-1 over the Toronto Maple Leafs. And if you weren't paying attention during the game, you may or may not have missed Kadri from the Maple Leafs get a big hit on Jacob DeBrusk. Kadri will also be facing an in-person panel, which means he could be suspended for the rest of the series. More info to follow on that. The Washington Capitals continued their Stanley Cup defense by defeating the Carolina Hurricanes 4-3 in overtime. The Boston game was the only game not to go to overtime. We'll get to that in a second. Nicholas Backstrom scored his 3rd goal in 2 games for the Caps. TJ Oshie added 1 as well. For Carolina, it was Jordan Staal who tied the game with 5 minutes to go in the 3rd, but it was Brooks Orpik who won the game 148 into overtime for Washington. In the other game, outside of Colorado and Calgary, the Dallas Stars fell to the Nashville Predators in Nashville, in Smashville as they call it, 2-1 in overtime. Who won it in overtime? We'll get to that. Jamie Benn scored for Dallas to open the scoring, minute 59 into the 2nd period. Then it was Grimaldi for Nashville to tie the game, 3:56 into the 2nd. But at the end of the day, it all came down to one player for the Nashville Predators, Craig Smith. First goal in the playoffs this season, 5 minutes into overtime. Usually it is 5 minutes in overtime in the regular season. During the playoffs, there is no time limit and no overtime limit, meaning makes for very late nights. Speaking of very late nights, we can credit the Colorado Avalanche and Calgary Flames for making the Sport Report premiere later than it normally does. 2 nights ago, the Colorado Rockies in baseball went to 18 innings against the San Francisco Giants, postponing this podcast until 2 a.m. Mountain Time. Last night, the Colorado Avalanche and Calgary Flames went to overtime across the border. We said we would start the show in Canada. Well, we're going to end the show in Canada. Nathan MacKinnon scored a winner, 8:27 into the overtime period, giving the Colorado Avalanche a well-deserved 3-2 victory in overtime. It will go back to Colorado to play on Monday. That's the Sport Report for Sunday, April 14th, 2019.
For now, I'm Chandler.
Thanks for tuning into the Sport Report today. We'll be back tomorrow with the latest in sports. Do you want to contact Chandler Sports or members of the Sport Report team? Visit sportreportcws.com. This podcast is copyrighted by the Sport Report for viewers to understand sports from a news reporting basis. Any other use of this podcast, Sport Report logos, or anything associated with this podcast without the express written consent of Chandler Sports is strictly prohibited.